If you pull up a satellite weather map of North America right now, like just on your phone, you see the familiar layout, right?
Yeah, just the standard view we're all used
Yeah,
to.
yeah. You've got the stark white ice sheet of Greenland anchoring the Northeast, the deep green stretching across the eastern seaboard, and, um, the arid brown ridges of the Rockies out west.
Exactly.
But according to this highly unusual, heavily debated stack of sources we're diving into today, if you think you're just looking at a weather report, well, you are missing the biggest picture imaginable.
You really are. It's a completely different paradigm.
Welcome to today's deep dive. So, our mission for this session is to explore a fascinating, honestly mind bending theoretical framework known as the theory of the five gates.
And it is wild.
It is. These sources argue that the sprawling cyclonic cloud patterns we see on our satellite maps aren't just passing storms, they're actually a broken cosmic map, one that shows our specific corner of the universe is actively drifting into a massive danger zone.
Yeah, it is a radical reframing of data that you and I look at every single day.
Right.
And to understand the logic of this theory, we really have to look at the exact details these sources are analyzing. Because before we jump into the theory itself, we need to establish the physical canvas.
The actual geography on the map.
Exactly. I mean, we all know the physical geography of the continent, right?
Mhm.
You've got the snowy, icy terrain of northern Canada
Yeah.
and the Arctic archipelago up top.
Mm.
The clearly defined Great Lakes in the middle, the deep green vegetation out east, and then those brownish arid regions of the Rocky Mountains in Mexico.
Yeah, all the standard textbook features.
Right. And you also get that really distinct coastal framing, like the Baja and Florida peninsulas wrapping around the deep blue of the Gulf of Mexico.
Oh, right. It really outlines the continent. But the authors of these papers completely bypass all of those standard geological and meteorological models, don't they?
They do. They entirely ignore the normal science and focus on a very specific set of atmospheric anomalies.
The clouds.
Yes. They point to the permanent or semi-permanent cloud structures that overlay this geography.
Right. The sources specifically highlight that massive cyclonic swirl of clouds that seems to just constantly churn over the North Atlantic, like just east of Greenland.
Hmm.
And there's another intense concentration of swirling clouds off the northwest coast moving toward Alaska. Plus, there's that massive sweeping band of clouds that consistently stretches all the way from the Caribbean northeast across the entire Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, that huge diagonal stripe.
It's like looking at deliberate brushstrokes on his canvas. You've got this heavy cloud cover in the north and the sweeping bands across the ocean, and they almost act like a frame around the clearer central and southern land masses below.
That is a really great way to picture it. And the central argument in the text is that these specific formations, these brushstrokes, right?
Right.
They are not just the result of random high and low pressure systems interacting with ocean currents.
Which is what any meteorologist would tell you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the sources argue these patterns are actually structural. They act as a fixed translation key.
Okay, let's unpack this, because this is where the massive leap happens.
It's a huge leap.
Yeah. The sources claim we need to take this standard satellite image showing North American weather and interpret these cloud bands and cyclonic swirls as an illustrated cosmic map.
Yes, a literal map of the cosmos.
So if I'm understanding this, we take a standard satellite image, but this theory reads those cyclonic swirls as a historical or cosmic cartography showing massive celestial gates.
That's exactly it.
I mean, wait. How does a low-pressure system over the Atlantic physically translate into a cosmic gate? Jumping from weather to massive celestial architecture sounds like fantasy lore if we don't ground it.
What's fascinating here is how mapping, whether we're talking about historical maps or modern satellite cartography, always involves interpreting symbols.
Okay, fair point.
Right. Think about ancient cosmological charts or even early Mercator projections. They constantly distorted physical geography to represent philosophical or celestial hierarchies.
Like putting Jerusalem at the exact center of a medieval map, regardless of the actual distances.
Exactly. You're interpreting a physical space to show a metaphysical or cosmic reality. And here, the theory scales up our planetary weather systems into a representation of massive cosmic architecture. The Earth itself is the medium.
Like putting a piece of paper over a textured coin and rubbing a pencil over it?
Oh, that's a perfect analogy.
The paper and the graphite are just paper and graphite, but the image that appears reveals the structure of the massive object underneath.
Yes. The weather patterns are the graphite. The cosmic map is the coin. The sources insist that if we read the graphite rubbings correctly, we can map out 5 to 7 distinct, massive celestial bodies, these gates, that dictate the structure of our immediate universe.
Wow. Okay, so if we are looking at this giant cosmic rubbing, the first thing anyone does when they look at a map is search for the little red arrow, right?
The "you are here" marker.
Exactly. If the entire satellite image of North America maps out this cosmic architecture, where are we physically located within it?
Well, according to the spatial logic of the text, we are not outside looking in.
We're on the map.
We are situated inside one of these formations. The sources pinpoint our location as being inside the gate that corresponds to the exceptionally prominent Greenland ice sheet.
Okay, so we're inside the Greenland Gate.
Yes, essentially we are residents of the Greenland Gate.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting, because the sources make it very clear that being inside the Greenland Gate right now is not a good thing.
No, it is decidedly bad.
It's like looking at a massive map of a sprawling city and realizing not only do we live in the Greenland neighborhood, but we're living in a district that's experiencing a massive catastrophic infrastructure failure.
Yeah, the text pivots hard right here, from
Yeah.
cartography to something closer to a dire emergency damage report.
Out of all the 5 to 7 gates visible on this map, our specific location, our neighborhood, is explicitly categorized as being in the worst affected region.
They do not mince words about it. It describes our gate specifically as damaged, detached, and misaligned.
Damaged, detached, and misaligned. Let's break those down. Because if this is a cosmic map representing celestial bodies, what does it physically mean for a celestial gate to be detached?
Right, because planets don't just fall off their orbits for no reason.
Exactly.
The sources explain this detachment through the mechanics of a localized danger zone. They outline that there are smaller celestial formations. On this map, they call them clusters.
Okay, clusters.
And these clusters were actually the first to be severely affected by this danger zone. But the damage spread. Our gate, despite being massive in size compared to these smaller clusters, is experiencing severe structural tension.
It's being pulled.
Actively pulled, yeah. The text describes it as an immense attractive force emanating from this danger zone. It's basically a massive gravitational sinkhole.
To visualize this immense physical tension, think of our gate like a colossal fractured ship.
Oh, I like that.
And the bow of the ship is being violently dragged by the current into a whirlpool that's the danger zone. And it's causing the ship to detach and misalign from the rest of the fleet.
Yes. Because the pull is so extreme and uneven, it's physically breaking the connections between our gate and its adjacent missing parts. We are literally snapping under the tension.
And once those connections shear off, the ship or gate is no longer sailing flush with the rest of the fleet.
Right, it's misaligned. In the context of the cosmic map, our gate is no longer functionally aligned with the broader network of celestial bodies. We are twisted toward the danger zone.
Okay, so if the front of our gate or the bow of the ship is being dragged into this whirlpool, what's happening if we look in the opposite direction?
Away from the tension.
Yeah, away from the danger zone. Where were we before we snapped off from the fleet?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the sources map this out very clearly. Moving away from the danger zone, our damaged gate remains entirely misaligned from what the text calls the unaffected area.
The unaffected area. So
Yeah.
the devastation is localized.
Highly localized. The sources highlight a staggering disparity in scale here. This unaffected area is substantially larger in size and scale than the smaller clusters, the gates, and the entire danger zone all combined.
Whoa, wow. So the vast majority of this cosmic architecture is totally fine.
It is entirely intact, functioning perfectly. It is only our specific localized region that has been fractured and pulled into this deadly alignment.
That implies such a profound, almost terrifying sense of sheer isolation for us.
It really does.
Even though we are part of this massive cosmic map, our specific ship is detached from an unimaginably vast, completely intact region of the cosmos, and we're just left tethered to the danger zone.
Oh, totally cut off.
Yeah.
And the authors use this isolation to drive home the importance of their map. They argue that humanity is completely blind to this reality because our everyday paradigm is just too small.
We look at the Earth and just see weather.
Exactly. The theory demands that we see our planetary geography as the visible symptoms of a much larger ongoing cosmic catastrophe.
And that is exactly what makes diving into sources like this so fascinating. It challenges you to look at everyday information like a satellite weather map of the Great Lakes or the Caribbean and imagine it as a blueprint for massive celestial bodies and cosmic forces.
You start reading swirling storms as the visible footprint of a celestial boundary.
Right. You started this journey today just looking at the physical geography of North America and sweeping bands of clouds.
Just a weather report.
Just a weather report. But you journeyed into a theory that views these features as an illustrated cosmic map. You learned that we are located in a damaged gate near Greenland, detached from its missing parts, with one end pulled into a danger zone and the other completely misaligned from a vastly larger, unaffected region.
It completely upends the mundane.
It really does. Which leaves you with one final lingering question to explore on your own. If our massive Greenland gate is currently damaged, detached, and drifting toward a danger zone, separated from the vast, unaffected region, what unimaginable cosmic force could have caused a celestial formation of that magnitude to fracture in the first place?
That's the real mystery.
And could those long, sweeping bands of clouds stretching across the Atlantic, the ones you see on the news every night, could they actually be the visible scars of that very break?